Hi there, welcome to Seasons Change. My name is Luann. Well, I'm so glad that you stopped by today because in today's video, I'm going to be sharing with you how I make chicken and dumplings using canned biscuits. Okay, so in today's video, I'm going to be showing you a very simple way that you can make chicken and dumplings at home using canned biscuits. So let's jump right in and let me show you how I do it. Well, there are so many different ways to make chicken and dumplings. And although today's recipe isn't the most simple way to make it, I think it's pretty close. So the very first thing that I've done here is just take a whole chicken, and you're going to want to clean it good inside and out, and then just place it in a large enough stock pot that you can cover the chicken with water. To the pot, I've added about a half a stick of butter, salt, pepper, and celery seed. Now as you cook this, you're going to want it to reach above 180 degrees, so you may have to add a couple cups of water during the process. And now once your chicken has become fully cooked, you're going to remove it from the broth. And then be sure to strain your broth. This is so important. As you can see in the last picture, I cook the chicken till it's falling off of the bone. So you want to make sure that you get all of those little bits of fat, cartilage, and bone out of there. You definitely don't want that in your chicken and dumplings. One great benefit to cooking it this way is that you're going to have plenty of chicken bone broth left over. So before I move on with this recipe, I'm going to take the time to spoon out probably about 2 quarts of bone broth, just to get it down to the manageable amount for my family, and that's about halfway. Now to the broth, you're going to add 1 to 2 cans of cream of chicken soup. It's totally up to you, and it depends on how much broth you left in your pan. Just give it a good stir, and now we're going to season the broth a little more by adding about 2 teaspoons of salt, and some pepper, and of course you're just going to have to season this to your own taste. And here's what I believe is the most important seasoning, and that's more celery seed. I add about 1 to 2 teaspoons. Okay, so once you get that broth seasoned just the way you like it, it's time to start deboning the chicken. Take your time during this step in the process because you don't want to add any bones back into that broth that you just strained. Once you've completely deboned the chicken, we're just going to return the pot to the stove and bring it to a rolling boil. You can see here that the chicken is still kind of clumpy, and if you prefer yours to be more shredded, you can go ahead and shred that before putting it in the broth, but I just go ahead and leave mine like that because as you can see here, with just a little bit of chopping and stirring, it's going to start shredding on its own. Okay, and now I'm going to be adding a bag of frozen peas and carrots. This is a small bag. I don't like a whole lot of peas and carrots in my chicken and dumplings. Sometimes I even leave it out, so it is totally optional. Just give it a quick stir, and once we bring this back up to a rolling boil, it'll be time to add the biscuits. Now, in my opinion, the cheaper the biscuits, the better. I just buy these little 4-pack Great Value biscuits from Walmart. This 4-pack isn't going to totally stuff the pot, but it will make enough for a couple of good-sized meals, and I like to use the leftover filling to make some chicken pot pies. Once that pot comes up to a good rolling boil, it's time to add the biscuits. I like my dumplings a little chewy, so I quarter mine. If you want your dumplings to be a little larger, of course, just do a half or maybe a third of the biscuit. instead of quarters. But the most important part in this step of the process is just be very careful with that hot boiling broth. As you continue to add the dumplings and they begin to fluff up, just make sure that you push them down into the broth so that they can get fully cooked about 5 or 10 minutes. And here is the delicious, creamy, fluffy final result.
Well, there you have it, and you know what? I can make it even easier. If you don't want to boil a whole chicken and have to take the chicken off of the bones, you can actually boil 2 or 3 boneless chicken breasts, and that's going to make that rich broth. Whenever you add that butter and all of the seasonings, you're going to get the same result. The only difference is you're not going to have to debone it, so it can get even easier. And I'm going to tell you, your family's going to love it, and they're going to think that you spent all day in the kitchen. Well, I'd love to know what you thought of this video. And I'm just curious, how many of you out there also use canned biscuits to make your chicken and dumplings? I actually prefer them. Well, that's going to do it for today. Thank you so much for stopping by. And if you haven't subscribed, I invite you to do so now. I would love to have you join the channel. Well, until next time, stay strong, stay safe, and I'll see you next time. Bye.